Welcome to another episode of Trek in the Valley.
Hi.
This is the non-encyclopedic Star Trek podcast, where myself, Adam Ordall Quinnell, and my co-host...
Hey, it's Al Hirt, everyone.
Mr. Al Hirt.
What's up?
We get together in the sunny San Fernando Valley and we chat about an episode of Star Trek, the original series. We do a recap, we give our thoughts, we rate the episode, and then at the end we chat about whatever kind of music or media we've been watching or listening to.
Yeah, whatever comes next.
And also, I don't know if, we've got a Facebook group. We'll put that in the notes.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I haven't mentioned that. Like, Facebook group seems like 100 years ago, but we have a weird Facebook group.
Interesting, cool.
For just find Trek in the Valley. If it's the only Facebook group you join, you'd be doing all right. Last week we discussed the episode Obsession.
Yes.
Which was a great episode. What were some of the highlights, Al?
I think the highlights, to you, well, I guess to both of us, what stood out was Kirk dealing with his past. I don't mean to put this lightly, but that hot three-way script writing action between Bones, Kirk, and Spock, confronting him in his quarters and all that.
Dude.
That was very exciting. The guilt trips that these human beings have, as Spock describes it, and the whole intertwining of just Kirk once again acting a fool and then being like, "What's your issue, man?" And him, he is just like, "It's intuition, bruh." And it just happens to work out in this case, which I love. So
I enjoyed that part of it in that he ended up having an okay reason, I guess. And then it ended up working out for him. So that's good.
Definitely in this case.
Not much has happened, but it's funny because sometimes we start the episode by catching up with what's going on, if we've been to any concerts or I went to a good comedy show.
Yeah. Concert-wise, I haven't been to any.
I went to a good comedy show at a place called The Good Night in Burbank.
Oh, cool.
Last night, run by Ethan, Joe, and Kevin. The great folks that run a good show.
I should go to a comedy show again.
Dude, next month I'm going to go to that show again, and then I'm going to hopefully start doing it. I'm trying to start doing stand-up again next year. But hey,
nice.
And then I ended up doing the thing. I was just going to say, usually we catch up a little bit, but when we're recording the second episode, it's not like much has changed in our life since a half hour ago. But then I remembered something else. I'm good at podcasting.
We're getting the hang of it now.
So last week we discussed Obsession, and this week the episode title is A Wolf in the Fold.
Yeah, and that doesn't really come into play until the very last second, but it is a very interesting second.
That happens sometimes with these episode titles, where it's it all clicks together right at the end. Yeah, and sometimes it's just the character looking at the camera and saying the episode title.
Or Bones being like, "This is the first time I had the last word."
And the episode is called Bones Has the Last Word. So this is A Wolf in the Fold. The original air date was December 22nd, 1967, which is around 14 years ago.
Oh, wait, 1967?
1967, December 22nd.
1967.
So
I'll give you the year.
That's
I guess 56 years.
56 years.
About, yeah.
And that's great.
A couple weeks.
Awesome. Good job. It's 66.
What? Oh, I thought you said...
Yeah, because 1967. So let's figure this out.
I
always make a joke about how we don't know how long it's been. Just subtract. Just be like 2023. 2023 minus 1967. 300. Yeah, I'm bad at math, so I believe you. It's 56. What the hell?
The calculator doesn't lie, man. The computer.
No, you're absolutely right.
As what comes up during the trial, computers don't lie.
56. What was I thinking?
It hasn't really been that long,
idiot.
Well, actually, no.
It feels way longer.
In retrospect. It does feel like
watching these episodes, it feels like 100 years ago.
But hey, just like the cloud was, going to reproduce in the last episode, media has exploded exponentially. So maybe the amount of media in between now and then has just exploded in that time, so we feel like more things have happened.
Oh, yeah. But
right? We're more aware of shit.
The movies feel like they're 40 years ago, and I guess they pretty much were.
Yeah, but I guess it's oh my god, definitely speaking of the terms of aged, this definitely throws it in your face, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's a very sexist charge.
Oh, I mean it's yeah, we'll get to it. So
anywho.
So the Paramount Plus synopsis for this episode is, first off, fucking spoiler alert, dude. Listen to this.
Does it?
Spoiler alert, dude. It says It says Scotty is implicated in a Jack the Ripper style murder. Excuse me. Now it's not other than the fact that it's foggy.
I'm glad I didn't read it, but yeah.
Other than the fact that it's foggy, it isn't really a Jack the Ripper style murder until they say so at the end.
Yeah.
Rat Jack.
I mean,
Rat
I
Jack.
guess it's like, yeah, that too, but also the way it's, I mean, I guess you're really into that. You could be like, hey, that's just like Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
They didn't have these fucking cues, though, but in the 60s, right? You just turned on the TV. Could you imagine sitting here, though, with your mom and dad watching this intro?
Like a belly dancing lady.
Yeah, and you're just like, wow,
there's
this is great.
There's some sexy stuff like the...
Yeah, they turn it up.
There was the Orion... Remember the Orion lady? The Orion...
Yeah.
Like hot Orion storytelling lady?
Well, also Mud with his women.
Yep.
And the... what was that one episode where, like, they changed the camera a lot and the lady changed herself or she was a different person?
That was... I know what you're talking... It's the
Was that
Halloween
Mud's
episode,
Women?
Cat's Paw.
Oh, Cat's Paw? No, not
Yeah,
that
where
one.
she spins around and she's like,
Well,
I can
that's
be any
true.
woman.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then she's like dressed
they
like
do
a
that
clown.
multiple times then.
They do a lot of stuff
Yeah.
multiple times.
With women.
So this opens with a hot belly dancing space human.
Yep, and they're on like this tea room kind of atmosphere thing with drapes.
It's like a hookah lounge feel.
Yes, that's
with
what
no
it is.
hookahs, right? And Scotty is really enamored by this hot lady that's dancing.
My boy Scotty's beaming. He's so happy. It's creepy.
Bones and Kirk are like, hey, so Scotty, you like that girl? Huh? You like that girl, huh?
Ugh.
And then Kirk says, so
gross.
Scotty, what would you say if I told you that I invited that particular lady to come sit with us?
He's like, you're a proper captain.
And Scotty's just like, oh my God, you had her come and sit with us. And he really feels like, he's like, hey, Scotty, you're going to get to have sex with that lady. What do you think about that? And Scotty's like, I love it.
No, he goes, you're a fantastic captain. Always worried about the needs of his men. And I was like, oh.
Disgusting. And Bones makes a comment that this is a hedonistic society.
Yeah, he's like, they really like their pleasure. And this is kind of, a callback to the whole Friday's Child thing, too, where it's like, well, actually, they enjoy, it's the opposite, where in Friday's Child, that planet enjoyed more, combat and their pleasure in that, whereas this planet now is like more just sexual and in your face.
And
what's up with that shot of the other guy too?
Well,
when
so
they're watching that, right?
he comes back later.
That's totally right. I didn't even realize that.
So while this lady is belly dancing for Scotty, giving him the the belly dancing version of a lap dance, basically, and there's another guy that's watching, looks obviously jealous from the sidelines.
He looks angry. And then there's the drummer too, who will come later.
Yeah, there's a drummer that looks
so
like
weird.
He's considering things. Scotty's got a big grin on his face.
It's creepy.
The lady comes over and
and it zooms in on her torso and it's Scotty's eyes, and it's so disgusting / ridiculous because like she just seems to just have a seizure.
He just wants to have sex with her torso. That's what the editing makes it look like. She's just a torso wiggling around for his pleasure. And then she finishes and Scotty bangs on the table.
Oh, God,
and they go,
yeah.
Scotty, stop it. They use lights here. There's lights on the table that they blink. That's how they applaud. And Scotty goes, you don't have to tell a guy from Aberdeen, a pub crawler from Aberdeen, out to applaud. And he's banging on the table.
Yeah, and they're like, no, this is how you applaud, Scotty.
No
Relax.
one has to tell an old pub crawler how to applaud, Captain. So this lady comes over and sits with them. The drummer looks all weird and walks out. And then Scotty talks about the moors of Aberdeen, where he's from, where they had fog walks. And he offers to go on a fog walk with her.
Okay, yeah.
So they go on a fog walk.
Oh, and then his whole pitch was like, "Do you want to go through the fog? Or there's nothing like going through the fog with a nice lassie or whatever."
Yeah,
and
I'm Aberdeen, from Aberdeen. He really...
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, we're a handsome lad," and it's like, who knows if the hustle's there, but maybe you're right. They're
I
hedonistic.
think she might be into it, but they are a hedonistic society.
Hey, he asked. We got consent here in the footage, folks.
There you go.
As creepy as it is,
they go for a walk, and Bones. Now we find out what's going on. So they're like, Bones is so Kirk is like, how do you like that? My work is never done. And Bones is like, what do you fucking mean? And Kirk's like, I'm matchmaking.
These are the after hours, Bones.
And Bones goes, dude, you're not matchmaking, dog. I prescribed this surely for Scotty.
Therapeutic leave.
Therapeutic leave. He's gonna go have therapeutic sex with that hedonist
lady. This is due to one accident, though, that happened at the Enterprise, which involved a woman.
So Scotty,
what happened though?
There was an explosion in engineering, and Scotty was blown up against a wall. And the explosion was the fault of a woman.
Yes.
Now. They are saying
they gotta put that in,
No, well, they are saying that as a result of that, Scotty hates women now. It's fucking hilarious.
It's such
they
a weird
literally say that,
and they're like, "Well, we cured it."
He was my work is never done. Kirk says, and Bones says, "My work. This is prescription stuff.
It's for his health."
And he says, "Don't forget the explosion that threw Scotty against the bulkhead was caused by a woman. Physically, he's all right. Am I assuming it right in that?" Kirk says, and he says, "Oh, as a matter of fact, considerable psychological damage could have been caused. For example, his total resentment towards women." So they're basically saying that he hates women because...
But he's like obsessed with them too, though, Adam.
Well, he always has been. Scotty's always had eyes for whoever's around.
Yeah, exactly. You see how he goes after women too in some episodes. It's hilarious. But anyways, one of the best callback lines though, and the joke happens at the very beginning where he's like, "Okay, my work here's never done, blah blah blah," and then Bones is like, "So what now?" And Kirk says, is like, "Yeah, I know a bar. You know the one where the women go," and then Bones is like, "Yeah, I know that one.
We gotta go.
Yeah, let's go." And it's so weird.
Yeah, Kirk's like, "Oh man, I know this bar where the women do this." And Scotty's like, yes, we got to see the ping pong ball trick. And so Bones and Scotty have big smiles on their face. They're gonna go see ladies do naked stuff,
crazy shit.
And then they hear a woman scream, and they get to a foggy alley to find the woman that was just at the belly dancing place, and she's dead
on the ground.
Dead on the ground in the mist. Dun, dun. And then the camera cuts to Scotty leaning up against a wall in the mist, holding a knife in his hand.
Well, and they already confirmed too. Kirk's like, stabbed a dozen times.
At least a dozen times.
She only got one scream at the end there, but.
Now, I just want to say
right to the intro here.
Yeah, while we've got the intro playing, I want to pause for just a second because I want to prepare the audience for how fucking crazy the end of this episode is. Like, you would never, there's no way, I don't think, to guess where this shit ends up.
Yeah, it feels like they got backed.
The reveal of how and why Scotty is there holding that knife is bananas.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll have to try to break it down here.
And also,
and
it's basically they're worried that Scotty is going to become an incel. Like they're worried he's going to go on 8chan because a woman caused an accident.
Yeah, right.
Like, why is that even a thing?
I don't know. And it's so kind of unhealthy, too. It's like, it's an unhealthy prescription. A healthier one would have just been like, just go to the beach. Or maybe, what is it? He could have gone to their HR, like Lieutenant Troy. She could have done her, like, the counselor Troy. She could have done her psychological thing back then, right?
Bones is the therapist on the ship.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Not good. Well,
his prescriptions are pretty brash. He did name a baby. What is it? Leonard
type James Leonard.
James Leonard.
Meach or whatever the
alien
Tarek,
name.
the alien name.
God, ridiculous.
Well, so here's the look. With Scotty here, what I don't understand is the problem is that it was a woman, not that it was a lieutenant or a coworker. Like, it was specifically that it was a woman that they just
and they always make a point of it.
They kind of just assume. And as you noticed, so in the last episode, there was a lot of updated special effects shots, right? Mm-hmm. But in this one, it's basically just the intro where they show the ship outside the planet. Where they add the planet, and we get a great title card, A Wolf in the Fold, written by Robert Bloch. Now, so basically,
the first murder happened.
The first murder hath happened. Scotty's date was stabbed 12 times, and there's a lawyer.
That's right.
So he mentions that they can't. So this society
doesn't happen on this planet. Basically,
yeah. So this society doesn't really have lawyers. They got to hire a lawyer from another place. So Hengist is the lawyer who's played by
his name?
John Fiedler.
Yes, who happens to actually be Piglet from Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, Piglet
I recognize
from
his voice.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, and his character goes off, so it's very interesting to see and hear the shit that he says and close your eyes.
And there's also a who's the Tark is the head of the society, right? The grand poobah. So basically, this lawyer is saying, look, if this was my home on Rigel 4, I'd have 12 investigators working on the matter, but they don't exist here.
And it's so interesting, too, this whole concept of, like, them looking into a crime, even though no crime happened, so they don't really have any laws. And right as Bones is like, wait, what are the laws here? The other character comes on, what's his name? Yeoman Tankins, right?
Yes.
And he's like, our law is love.
Oh, yeah. No, not the yeoman.
It's
Tark.
Tark, yeah.
Yeah, the
Tark,
Grand Prefect. The Prefect.
Oh, Tark. You're right. The Prefect, yes. My bad.
So Scotty doesn't remember anything.
No, of course. That's the go-to, right?
He went out into the mist. And he doesn't remember anything. Basically, the lawyer is like showing him the knife. The Hengist is showing him the knife, asking what's happened. We were walking in the fog. He says,
they're like, please, Scotty, anything. Like, seriously.
And I was up ahead trying to lead the way.
Yeah, and I think
you heard the girl scream.
The last thing he said he remembers is just turning around, and all of a sudden, the body's laying there on the floor.
Yes.
But this kind of obviously is showing a pattern here that we're going to see here soon. But their first, what is it? Their first jurisdiction is like, what should we do? Like, I guess they want to arrest him, but what is really a punishment here?
Bones is saying we've got to get the fuck out of here with him and just Bones is
let's leave.
Well, no, Bones is saying we can bring him to the ship.
Yeah.
And we'll use our computers to determine exactly what happened and we'll know what happened. And Kirk is saying, no, it was our Argelian law. And if they want to arrest him, try him, even convict him, they're in a particular spot as representatives of the Federation. He has to go along with it. And so basically they have to figure out what's going on. The only fingerprints on the weapon were Scotty's, which I don't think that's that big of a deal. And Kirk says, look, there was a bunch of people.
Stab herself. But I guess somebody with a glove.
Exactly. and Kirk says, Kirk is like, there was a bunch of other people that left the cafe right before or around the same time as Scotty.
Who knows? It's an alley, full city, bunch of people.
Hengist is like, yeah, I know. We've been informed by the staff. We're figuring that out, and here we go.
Yeah.
So they're talking to Hengist, and then the prefect comes in, who's basically like the mayor of the planet.
Yeah, and he says the law is love.
And he says the law, because the law of Argelius is love.
Yeah, and he comes with his beautiful wife, and he's a very what is it? It kind of reminds me of Clone Wars when people would visit, council planets and just, the counselor was all, what is it called? Not majestic. What's the word? He's very cordial and royalty-like.
Proper,
and very proper.
He's played
matter of fact.
He's played by Charles Macaulay. It's Jarrus. I would not.
Jarrus.
Not
excuse me.
So basically, he's saying that before our Great Awakening, 200 years ago, they had a way of learning the truth in matters like this. It's like
use them again. It's like what is it called? They bring it up too because Kirk and Bones both know what they're talking about. It's like some psychological thing.
It's not a mind meld. Spock says it's not a mind meld. Not
quite.
It's basically like bargain basement knockoff mind meld shit.
It seems like that.
And it shall be handled. And Mr. Hengist is like, I don't think we should use this old psychic power. And he's like, hey, I'm the prefect. I decide what we do,
and he
motherfucker.
Also says he wants to do it in his office rather than the guy's house. And he's like, nonsense. I am the highest official person. Like, who cares? Might as well just do it at my place anyways.
So then
they all go to his place.
But it's going to take some time.
Place. Yeah.
They got to prepare for this seance that they're going to do.
And in the meantime, too, Kirk's like, well, we do have this psychological reader on board. Psycho tricorder, yeah.
Now, let me get this straight. I paused it here because we're going to talk for a moment about the psycho tricorder.
Yeah.
Kirk says that what the psycho tricorder can do is analyze Scotty's brain and basically reconstruct his memory for the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
I know. I feel like they should have used this way earlier.
All the time, every episode, all the time.
Shoot, even with Obsession.
Take out the psycho tricorder, run it over,
The guy that got injured, yeah. Yep. He didn't need to regain his consciousness and risk his disease. Yeah. Dang, Adam, you're right.
Psycho tricorder. So he says, prefect, it will give us a detailed account of everything that's happened to Mr. Scott in the last 24 hours.
Do you know what it reminds me of now? Ooh. It's like those little beans, that they put in the people's heads in, what is it, Black Mirror.
Oh,
and it
yes.
Helps save their memory. Records all your memory. It creates a subconscious of the conscious or whatever. It's super freaky. But anyways, it's just like those recording bean things.
The only reason that would be good is because maybe there would be a setting where you could just set it to baked. And then your brain is like baked because the chip makes it. And it's like, oh, okay.
That'd be freaky.
Dude, I've always thought about that. Like if you had like just like a little switch that just like is like, because they do that on Doctor Who. Yeah. On Doctor Who, they found like a place in a back alley where folks were selling emotions.
Oh God!
Like it's like a little tab that's just happy or sad or just to feel different things. But
anywho,
so Hengist, for some reason, right? I don't know. I don't get what this Hengist. Yeah. I don't get what Piglet's deal is.
He's in the way.
He doesn't seem to want any kind of investigation that he's not in charge of to happen.
Yeah.
Because he says, "Look, I don't think that we should give a shit about the psychic tricorder. I'd advise against it, Prefect. This is purely an Argelian matter."
But it's like, look, and the Jarvis goes, "My wife must meditate. I see no reason why we shouldn't use it. It's an investigation. We should try to use all the materials that we have.
The time that my wife's got to meditate, let's use that time to
We're not going to just sit here. Yeah,
it's another good remastered shot.
Yeah, it's really silly, though, of, what's this guy's name? I'm just going to call him Piglet.
Hengist.
The Hengist. It's just really silly of him to not use his resources because it's like, look, it's already untraditional in the fact that you came from another planet to do this investigation.
Yeah, he's just a lawyer that they hired.
And the other funny line, too, is Bones is like, well, I mean, don't you have more people working on this? And he's like, look, I'd usually have 12 investigators on this, but like, this never happens on this planet. Yeah, he's like, no one ever gets murdered. They all just have sex.
So they're worried that the planet is going to close because of these murders.
They're all spooked.
So they're trying to figure out what's going on. So it's the only spaceport in the quadrant. So now they're going to beam down a lieutenant who is, and then I didn't get this at first. I
totally forgot.
So this lieutenant with the psycho tricorder beams down, right? And that she is Lieutenant, let's see here. Oh, they'll say her name in a second. So this lieutenant beams down with the psycho tricorder, and Hengist notices her and then leaves. There's a couple shots of Hengist.
Oh, yeah.
Lieutenant Karen Tracy. Now, Lieutenant Tracy is going to do a 24-hour regressive memory check on Mr. Scott. and they go off into a little side room where this is going to happen because they need privacy for some reason to do it, which I don't understand. If he might be a dangerous murderer, why would you put him in a private place with a lady?
Another woman at that, yeah.
If he hates women, and they even mention that. Well, they don't mention it in the case of Tracy.
Yeah, we always forget.
They should say, well, should we have Tracy doing this memory regression check if he hates women?
Bones can do it.
Exactly. Why couldn't so basically here's what they're worried about. So they're Bones and Kirk, Scotty goes out to get his tricorder psychoed. And Kirk and Bones are like, look, do we think that Scotty is a murdering misogynist? Like, do we think that could happen? And they're like, normally, and Bones says, normally I'd say no. But, and Kirk says, yeah, he had that head trauma from when he was thrown against the wall. That could render all of his previous behavior out the door.
Well, that's what they keep leaning on.
So they're saying that they're worried that he had the head trauma, and it didn't just like make him resent women because a woman caused it. There was actual physical head trauma that changed his brain chemistry to make him a murderer now. And also amnesia. So the fact that he doesn't remember what happened is a big part of it.
Well, maybe they think it's like some kind of angry trigger too. You know how like angry people black out when they do an action and then they wake up after and they're like, what did I do?
They talk about that with his guilt. They say a guilty person will black out.
That's true. But it's super, I don't know. It's very, what is it called? They don't have enough, like, I don't feel like they have enough, evidence. But then as they're talking about it, the second it comes up, somebody screams.
So now the lady who's going to do the wife who's going to do the SIBO is her name, SYBO, played by Pilar Sirat, she said, all right, I'm ready to do my psychic impressions. Where's the knife? Give me the knife. Right. I want to do my psychic impression on the knife. There is no knife. Where's the knife? Yep. And the prefect is like, I just had the knife here. You hear a woman scream.
Yep.
And then what do we find? Oops, Scotty is passed out at the table. And
the dead woman,
Tracy, Lieutenant Tracy, is dead as hell. Stabbed about a dozen times.
Yep.
From what we could see.
For some reason, the first time I watched that, I thought that was Nurse Chapel, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, did Nurse Chapel just die?"
Wouldn't that be crazy if that was like,
they just totally just wiped over her. Yeah.
Nope, just a random blonde lady, unfortunately.
But also,
fortunately.
Yeah. But what I was saying about the whole Scotty doesn't need evidence before, because I saw you were like, what are you talking about? It's like, I think it was more of just, this is the point when when Bones and Kirk are still in denial, I guess. And then they kind of try to piece it together, but they're like, this is one stretch, though. Yeah, I still feel like they're on the edge. But
they really don't want Scotty to be a murderer.
No, of course not.
But if he is a murderer, they want to be able to blame it on he got a bonk on the head, not Scotty's an evil murderer.
Of course. Now, but anyways, it happens again.
So there's another dead lady that Scotty was in close proximity to, but now there's no knife.
The second murder.
Now, Scotty is given an Argelian stimulant drink to kind of wake up, and Bones is like cautious about it, but then he takes it. Scotty wakes up and he says, where's Lieutenant Tracy? And they're like, she's dead. And he's like, I don't remember. I'm sitting here now, and then I wasn't, and then I'm sitting here now, and oh no, another dead lady. And Scotty starts to question himself.
Yeah,
and he even says later, he says, I was starting to think that I did it, because obviously, spoiler alert, Scotty's not a murderer.
No, of course not. And then this is when it gets, obviously that's when it gets ridiculous, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Even more ridiculous.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden, though, there's more people involved in this lady's life. Yes. The first lady who got murdered.
So now Hengist comes in.
Yes.
And he's like, these two people were at the cafe the night of the murder, which is just yesterday. I don't know why they're the night of the murder.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then he tells Hengist there's been another murder, one of my crew, same as Kara. And then he asks the two people that just came in with Hengist, where were you and what are you doing here?
Yeah, right.
And now the drummer who played for the murdered girl says, since she was a girl, she has danced for me. She was my daughter.
And it's like, oh, wow.
That's kind of weird.
Guess, yeah.
How could a thing like this have happened here? The man who did it must be found.
And he's like,
and then we get to this next guy.
Yes.
You left the cafe before her.
With the square head.
Yes, this guy has a very square head. Good call. And he's basically wearing a tapestry as a vest.
Yes.
And he says, do you know Kara? And he goes, of course I knew her. Or the drummer says, of course they knew her. He used to be married, but he behaved disgracefully. So basically, this guy is jealous.
Yes.
Now, on Argelia, nobody is supposed to be jealous, which
is another weird thing. Yeah. The cracks are starting to show.
Doesn't that kind of make sense that nobody is jealous on a planet where the women are treated like sex objects?
Well,
it's just so strange to me that. So basically, this guy's gotten in trouble before for being jealous of his wife belly dancing for people.
Yeah, and then he was just saying that this is the same person.
And he got mad about Scotty.
Yeah, and this is the same person that we saw giving creepy looks, at the very beginning of the
creepy look
episode.
guy. Indeed, it is.
But you were saying what about Scotty?
Well, I'm just saying that this guy was jealous of Scotty. He even says so just now.
Yes, exactly.
And he said, Kirk says, jealousy has been a prime motivation for murder in the past. And the prefect is like, that's why it's outlawed here. And it's like, you can't outlaw a feeling.
Yeah, seriously. And also it's like, again, we're starting to see the cracks in this whole society. So it's kind of just weird that as much as they like to make love to each other, there's something else going on, but they don't really address that in this episode.
Yeah.
This planet has its own issues, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. And now the prefect is like, look, Kirk, it kind of seems like you're just trying to save your friend at this point. Like, he's the second murder,
it's a little weird.
And Kirk says, look, if he's guilty, but he hasn't been proven guilty yet. So they're going to do this. Sibo is going to do this ceremony.
Yep.
And then Kirk says, can you seal the room while the ceremony's going on? The prefect flips a button and all the doors close. And they all sit in a circle. But Kirk, first off, he calls Spock. And Spock is going to chat with him about this ceremony. So Spock is saying, concerning the situation you related to us, in my opinion, the Argelian empathic contact is an interesting phenomenon, but the technique is not sound enough to risk a man's life. So basically, Spock is saying, look, you can't convict Scotty based on the outcome of this test. It's like a faulty lie detector.
Sort of.
And
yeah,
Spock is saying, I suggest you just bring Mr. Scott aboard the Enterprise and we'll fucking figure it the fuck out and be done with it.
Oh, yeah, using computers to learn the truth, which comes up later.
And so they have to do this first by Argelian law. They'll cross that bridge when they get to it. Whoa, look at that. So at about 20 minutes at about 20 minutes and 16 seconds in, there's this awesome top-down shot of the group of people that are doing this Argelian empathic ceremony. They're sitting in a circle around this ceremonial fire. They all have these runes in front of them, and there's these star patterns painted on the floor.
Yeah.
What a fucking great shot.
Kind of looks like a compass.
Yes, what a great shot.
Also, too, it's kind of like now at this point, they're not in Scotty's not alone with a woman here.
Right. There's no way another murder can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, so they think,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way, right? I mean, so and now.
Also, we'll see at the end that, what's his name? Jans? What's his name?
The lawyer?
No, not the lawyer. The guy with the beard.
Prefect?
The prefect,
The prefect Jarrus.
He gets the worst of it. Jarrus, yeah.
Yeah.
Jarrus gets the worst of it. We'll see.
Well, Sibo probably gets the worst of it.
Yeah, of course.
So Sibo, Jarrus' wife, goes into her trance, and they pull the lights down, and she says, "There's something here, something terrible. I feel its presence, fear, anger, hatred. Anger feeds the flame."
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, there is evil here.
Okay.
Wait, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Where is it? When she say it?
What?
Monstrous, terrible evil. Come on.
Gosh.
Consuming hunger. When she say it? Hatred of all that lives.
Yeah.
Hatred of women. There we go.
Okay.
And a hunger that never dies. And then it's strong, overpowering, devouring all life, all light. I just want to get to the scary words she says. Red Jack.
And she just starts screaming.
Sibo screams, and she also says, she said a couple other words in there too, but we missed it. And then the lights turn off and come back on, and then Scotty is holding Sibo in his arm.
Yeah.
And she's dead, standing upright. And then she falls down, into Bones' lap with the knife that went missing earlier sticking out of her spine.
And it's blood on Scotty's hand.
He's literally caught red-handed.
Yeah, seriously.
Literally caught red-handed. Cut to Scotty in a chair.
And Kirk and Bones surrounding him just like, look,
listen,
3 murders.
You are
and
the
you're
only
right there.
suspect.
Yeah.
And then so basically Scotty's saying, look, I don't remember. The prefect is surprised that any man could do the thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? And Scotty says, look, I don't remember the first 2 murders, but I do remember this one. And here's how Scotty describes it, which is fucking rad. It comes up later. He says, I heard her scream and I got up to help her, but it was like there was something between us, like a presence that physically stopped him from helping her.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hengist is just like, this guy's clearly guilty. Throw him out a fucking airlock. And
it's so bizarre, though, that, like, it's just so shitty that it's all around Scotty, and you just still see that Scotty just kind of really has no idea what's happening, and that, like, you know, they're all saying, look, you might have just killed without knowing it, which again leads back to the head injury and all that too, and his natural, I guess, subconscious hatred of women.
It's making sense. And then Prefect Jarrus is like, look, well, if Kirk, Bones, if we go up to your ship and we use your machines, are we going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt what happened, if Scotty's guilty, or if he did the murders and doesn't remember, or what? And they say, yes, no doubt will remain. I don't understand how that's possible, but it's future tech, whatever.
Well, I mean, I think they're like just trying to dot all their I's and cross their T's. Obviously, I don't know why they don't do the psychological thing again, but maybe they just risk the privacy of it, you know?
Well, she died.
Well, yeah, but it's like, are they going to, I guess they don't want to risk the privacy thing again, you know?
Well,
they could just have another lieutenant do that,
They're going to on the ship, though. They do that.
But they do the, they do the psych thing?
Yep, they do a psycho, they do a psycho tricorder thing. Still,
and then they still do the lie, and now it comes up with the. This feels like court martial and all that too, with the whole lawyer scene.
So,
but they all go on the ship again.
Now we're on the Enterprise.
Arrested. Now Scotty's arrested.
Now that we're on the Enterprise, there is no way any other murders can happen, right? Because that's like now we're not. So they've got a lie detector set up that is infallible. The computer notifies you when you're lying. They're going to put Scotty in it. Kirk's going to basically question him. And Hengist might ask some questions too. So they verify Scotty's identity, and Commander Montgomery Scott give his serial number, and they're just going to, and he did receive a recent severe blow to the skull, damage is healing. That's weird that they mentioned that in the thing about him.
I mean, it's like maybe recent history kind of deal, right?
So what they're saying is, Kirk asked the computer, is it possible that the blow to his head would cause functioning amnesia? And the computer says working, negative.
And the emphasis too here is that like they want to make sure, they want to eliminate the fact that it is psychological damage and just physical damage. And the computer's emphasizing that really right now. They're just like, are you sure he is, not losing his mind? Is he completely sane? And it's like physiological damage or psychological damage is not, occurrent here. We only see physical damage here that he's repairing.
And this is where Scotty says, I don't remember killing the first 2. Yeah. And the computer said he's not lying. He doesn't remember it. And they're like, but he still could have killed him. And then
it gets really weird.
But then Scotty says, look, I do remember the prefect's wife being killed. Ask me about that shit. And I've got to say something quick about this prefect. He's doing a really good job keeping chill.
It together. Yeah.
His wife was just killed, but they are like
he's like one of my favorite characters.
They are like a chill hedonist society, so he is kind of probably like, that's okay. I've got lots of ladies. I've got lots of drugs and stuff. So basically, he says, I went towards her when she screamed, but there was something in my way. Scotty says, and then Kirk says, something? You mean someone? And Scotty says, no, Captain, something.
This is when it gets. This is when it starts to go off the rails here.
Okay, so this is a line that one of the few lines I had to pull out to be like. So Scotty says, There was something between us. And Kirk says, something, don't you mean someone?
Yes.
Scotty says, no, Captain, something. And then he says, cold. It was like a stinking draft out of a slaughterhouse. It was like a stinking draft out of a fucking slaughterhouse, but it wasn't really there like a corporeal being, if you know what I mean.
This is really weird, but it's kind of like the whole obsession, too, with them smelling honey before death. It's just kind of like this weird, ominous, like, uncomfortable kind of thing to smell in space.
And Hengist is very much like, hey, Scotty is just telling us the same stuff he's told us before.
What the hell's going on?
All the computer is verifying is that Scotty believes his own story, and that was never in question.
Yeah, and the
Hengist is really seems up Scotty's ass for some reason.
And Kirk, to counter that too, he just goes, "Okay, Scotty, lie to me. How old are you?" And Scotty's like, 22. And the computer's like, nope, liar, you are wrong. And all of a sudden, though, they start going around the room. So they just say, look, at the... And one of the accused from the planet Argelia stands up and he's like, hey, the lights were off enough for a long enough time for a woman to get murdered here in the back. Yes. So I guess they're kind of leaving it up to chance now.
Kara's ex-fiance.
Yes.
And now Hengist keeps explaining, but there was 2 other people murdered.
Yeah, that only explains one.
And Scotty says he doesn't remember how they were killed. Computer accuracy stands, relaying no psychological damages.
And then
we'll run the psycho tricorder.
Yeah, and then it shows, this is so ridiculous.
Hengist objects to the entire procedure.
Well, at this point, it feels like it's out of Hengist's hand. Like, the only thing that he's done that's productive was to bring the other 2 people. So then, at this point, they're like, all right, well, let's just interview the other 2 while we're here. And so then while they're interviewing, who's the guy's name?
I don't know their names, but this is Kara, the original victim's fiance.
Yes. So
and he says she loved me, and her dad says that's not true. He might think she loved him. They fought constantly.
And it's like, oh, well, it looks like he could have murdered her. But then it's like, well, what about the other lady, you know?
Exactly.
So and the computer's like, well, it's accurate. He's not really lying. So now they're just trying to bring it down and try to figure this out. So then Spock's like, look, let's assume that this psychological crazy
Kirk
seance.
Kirk says, let's assume Sibo was a sensitive.
Yes.
That she did sense something evil. Sensitive of certain Argelian women is a documented fact, Captain.
Which is so weird that Spock says that because he was denying it before.
Yeah,
so.
and Prefect says what she told you was true, and then Kirk says, "All right, what was it she said exactly?" She said, "Monstrous evil, ancient terror that devours all life and light." And then she said something else, Red Jack, Baratus, and then the third one, Red Jack, Baratus, and Kesla. Obscure, meaningless words. And then Kirk says,
well, Spock, look into it. Yeah.
Figure it out. And then by Spock, look into it, he means Spock, right now, ask the computer questions that I could just ask the computer.
Or Uhura, could have been there and been like, oh, I know what that means.
Yes. So the computer looked up Red Jack, doesn't find anything, negative finding. There's no such word in any linguistic banks. But they say, why don't you look through history instead? And it says affirmative, scan all other banks. And it says language, English, Jack the Ripper, a proper name. Red Jack, source, Earth, 19th century. Jack the Ripper, language, English. So wait a second. Nickname for mass murderer of women.
You're putting the cart ahead of the horse here.
Other Earth synonym, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, and then this is the episode. This is the part where I was like, wow, this really just kind of went off.
The fuck? So,
yeah, and everybody in the room's like,
well, the aliens are like, so they're saying it's a murderer from a different... They don't know who Jack the Ripper is.
Yeah, of course. That's why they're just really confused.
He lived hundreds... Jack the Ripper, well, that's ridiculous. And then, but here's the thing, Hengist.
Yeah, the
Hengist says he lived hundreds of years ago. Wait a second, Hengist, how do you know Earth history? How do you know any of this shit? I mean, they did say the 19th century. How do you know what Earth century it is?
And also, too, this is, the point when
a man couldn't survive all these centuries.
Yeah, but it's also just how the evidence around Scotty builds up with the murders around Scotty. This is just building up the whole fact that Hengist, the entire investigation, has been like giving him hurdles and blocking them every way. So the person I was watching it with, they're like, oh, I mean, he's up to something, like, because he's constantly, you know, berating them and saying, no, this all doesn't make sense.
Yes.
And what is the other guy? What's his name? Shoot, the prefect. Prefect, excuse me.
Prefect
the
Jarvis.
prefect. Yes, the prefect is like, well, I mean, we did do the seance. It could be literally an evil entity that is so incredibly evil
that it would last.
Yeah, and it was like, well, I mean, men die, so
but Kirk
I guess
says,
would his spirit live on?
Kirk says, sure, Jack the Ripper would be dead if he were a man, but what they're positing now is that Jack the Ripper is a timeless entity who can take human form when it needs to kill. And so...
And he's like, well, look, the human race had gone out into space, so we might have just brought something to the galaxy that is, like, foreign, I guess, to every, you know, other things, I guess, out there. So maybe, is it taking the concept of ghost on Earth and taking them off of Earth to the other world, right?
So here's
to the galaxies?
Yeah, they're saying that it's like an alien ghost. Now,
but it's from Earth. I
guess
that's what he's
not necessarily.
Right?
That's just where we first became aware of it. Is on Earth. For all we know, it came from somewhere else. But isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's true. Maybe
maybe they are saying it came from Earth.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
left into the stars.
Kirk says.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the lines is like, "When we sought out to the stars, we could have brought out something else with us." Yeah,
that's an interesting concept
it's
too. Other sci-fi has dealt with that, I think, in the sense of like humans bringing like a disease to an alien planet, things like that.
That's a good point.
Now. Really quick, before we get to that of it, I want to mention that they're like, well, what if there is, because the prefect is like, she said, my wife before she died, she said that it feeds off fear and despair and hatred. And so now they're positing that like, well, are there creatures that can survive off emotion? And Spock, they asked the computer, and the computer is like, yeah, there's a creature who survives off the human emotion of love. So they're saying that most probably a massive energy, a highly cohesive electromagnetic field. And so Kirk is saying, I've seen these creatures that live off love myself. In its natural state, it's gases, but when it rests, it's a solid. So, so basically,
this just starts to get all weird, though, that they're talking about like gases that are like, you know, living, non-living, but it kind of, you know, goes back to our last episode with obsession with a gaseous creature without form, something that's so, I don't know, so incredible, I guess, that it could kind of make its own thing out of itself.
Yes.
It's really weird conceptual things that's going on in this episode.
And it's just kind of off camera.
Yeah. It's just this weird description. I feel like they wrote them themselves in the corner. Because
it's always just a person. It's not. You never see an alien. You never see a gas cloud. So
that's true.
This is where
special effects.
This is where shit gets extra interesting.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right. So why don't we go back and ask, when were there other Jack the Ripper style murders that were unsolved? And this is funny because this was written in 1967, and they're like. Yes, there were other murders. Not in the United States, though. That's for sure. They say there was a murder in the USSR in '74, and then in 2105 on the Martian colonies there was 8 women knifed to death, and then
every like 50 years it seems.
And now. Captain, those places are logically aligned between Argelius and Earth. Yes, when man moved out into the galaxy, he took something with him. Computer, identify the proper names. And then he says, identify the proper names. Kesla and Baratus.
Yeah.
This is where shit gets really rad. Because Kesla and Baratus, they find, are Jack the Ripper style alien killers on alien planets. And the one most recently... Baratus was the suspect in killers that happened a year ago on Rigel 4. A year ago on Rigel 4. Wait, Addendum 2. Baratus, name given to unidentified mass murderer of women on planet Rigel 4. Additional data. Murders on Rigel 4 occurred 1 solar year ago, and Hengist is really sweating now for some reason.
Yeah,
and now they're all looking at Hengist saying, wait, Rigel 4, that's where you're from, motherfucker. You didn't know there was a Jack the Ripper style murder happening?
And he introduces himself, too, as coming from Rigel 4, since they don't have the authority to take care of crimes on Argelian, right?
Yes, so they ask him to take the stand, and he says, well, I'm definitely not taking the stand. And
then he's like, seriously, Prefix, this has gone long enough. I can't take the stand. And Spock's like, well, I mean,
I understand your position.
Yeah, you're obviously in charge of like these crimes. So wouldn't that be the best place to be when,
if you're an entity that does murders, you'd probably want to murder with impunity and be
seriously,
an investigator lawyer. He's like, you discovered the knife was missing when Lieutenant Tracy was murdered. You discovered, which feeds on fear and terror.
And then it is a perfect hunting ground on Angelius, a planet without violence. So Spock's putting all the pieces together.
They would be feeling fear for the first time. It would be like the most delicious fear. Yum, yum, yum.
That's true, yeah. Maybe it's like how it's feeding on them to get bigger and bigger, and that is when, Spock says the Tesla
where the inhabitants are as peaceful as sheep.
Yes, and he goes, and this is where that entity would be like a wolf in the fold, a hungry wolf in that fold.
That's the title of the episode.
So it's like, okay, at this point, when we hear about Jack the Ripper and all that, I was just like, man, this has gone so off the rails here. We obviously know that it wasn't Scotty, but this crazy explanation just kills me.
And now it's Jack the Ripper from multiple planets.
Yeah, I guess.
And so now they're going to run I paused it on a great shot of John Fiedler, the Hengist guy. So Spock says, report analysis on Exhibit A. And it turns out that Exhibit A is the knife. And they put the knife up on the screen, and then the analysis of it's got carvings on it that indicate its point of origin. And guess what? Its point of origin was produced by hill people of the Argus River region of
Rigel 4.
Oh my gosh. So Hengist looks like the knife is from your planet. So let's figure this shit out. Hengist gets up, tries to run away,
make a break for it.
What happens? He kicks Kirk, and then he gets knocked out by Kirk with a punch, and then Spock is holding him down. Now Hengist is knocked out, and he takes his pulse and says he's dead.
Wow, he's dead, Jim.
Now Bones gives him a "he's dead, Jim," but that's not possible. He barely popped him one.
Yeah, and
that's what Kirk is like. That's not possible. I just socked him on the nose a little bit.
And all of a sudden, this creepy atmospheric voice comes in the speakers and says, Red Jack, Red Jack. Yeah, Red Jack. And all of a sudden, they're trying to like see if the computer will respond and
now
stuff.
Now there's a ghost in the machine. Are going off. Let's cut to the chase here.
It's really bizarre.
This evil ghost of Jack the Ripper, or the entity that was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, it takes over the ship.
All of the view screens have this crazy, trippy, atmospheric.
Cool.
Well, it's pretty cool, but it also looks kind of like an old Apple screensaver. And so they're basically saying, look, we have got to give sedatives to everybody because this thing feeds off fear.
Yeah, so then they gotta trick all the crewmen into tripping.
There's another level of this where they go around and they give all the crewmen sedatives, so everybody's super high.
Yeah, and they're all
including
really happy.
Bones at the end.
Yeah,
so they're trying to starve this thing because they're like, look, the monster's controlling all the computer systems.
And we all know that it feeds off of hunger and fear, so we create the least amount of hunger and fear possible.
Yeah, but they say that that it's on the ship, right?
Yes.
And so the reason that they're giving the sedatives is, like you said, enough sedatives to tranquilize an active volcano. Everybody's going to get high, but they're saying that it's not going to kill them right away. That's what I was trying to get to.
I was
it's controlling all the systems on the ship. They're like, why doesn't it kill us right now? And it's like, because it wants to fatten itself up, basically. So it's going to feed off their, like Pennywise. It's going to feed off their fear for a while.
There is something else that does come up while they're trying to like figure out the plan. They go back to the bridge, right? And they go onto the, what is that called? The airlock or the elevator? They go onto the what is it called?
Turbo lift.
The turbo lift, and the turbo lift starts to freak out, and they're like, okay, just switch it to manual mode, and they get to the bridge, and while they're trying to fix it, you hear this crazy voice go like, "You and everything on a board is gonna die," and Sulu's like, "This is the first time I've ever heard a malfunction threaten us."
Yeah,
and he's just so confused. But they're trying to keep him out of the know, so they're not scared as shitless.
Yep, and
how do you even explain it to people? Right, this is a Jack Ripper
is executive produced by
and
Adam
Spock
Bordall
is saying
Cornell
normal
and
environmental
Al
levels
Hirt.
have been restored, but it won't last long. He's trying to do a workaround.
I love the
Sulu's
workaround
like-
that happens too.
Sulu is like, Spock,
Check the
why
show
did you do
notes for
that?
our
And
socials,
Kirk's like, shut up, take
and
this
you can
sedative.
email the pod
And
at
Yeah,
Jack
they're all
Valley,
just
all
getting,
one word,
they're all
at
just starting to get
gmail.com.
high.
And there's an evil voice
subscribe,
talking. This
review,
time I do not need a
and
knife. I
always
control all of your. I may
explore
cut off your
strange
oxygen
new
and
fucking
suffocate you.
Yeah, it's like threatening him.
And so, but now you got a high crew.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's only a few people that aren't going to be high. Now this is where I don't get it.
I love this Spock diversion though that happens.
So let's rewind.
In order for them to like figure out how to kill this thing, they have to distract a computer, right? Because Jack the Ripper's computer's in the computer. So then Spock comes up and he's like, "Okay, computer, to the very last digit, compute the value of pi." And he's like, "Fuck, no. And it's like pi just goes on forever. So then they have some time while the computer's thinking about that.
They start getting control of systems back.
Yeah, exactly. Because
As the computer gets
trying
busy
to calculate pi.
calculating pi. Good catch.
Yes.
Now let's see here. So they go back into the briefing room, but here's what I don't understand. They think that the thing is going to be able to jump bodies, but only to people who aren't tranquilized. So like they're only going to keep a few people untranquilized, and Kirk is saying, "Bones, you got to tranquilize yourself." And so here we go. Bones is super high.
Yeah, and
then
also they try to get the prefix, but at this point.
Just as Kirk is about to zap the prefix with the shot, the Hengist speaks through him and says, "No, Kirk, you're gonna die, motherfucker." And then Spock does a Vulcan neck pinch.
Yes.
The prefix goes down, and now remember, Hengist was dead.
Yeah, was
Hengist was dead. And now the entity goes into Hengist. He jumps up and grabs this lady with the knife, and
the lady's
he's gonna
laughing,
kill
thank
somebody.
God. But then they sneak up on the guy, and then
Because she's not afraid. And then they just
Kirk
knock him out
flips
again.
him over and knocks him out. And then this time, though, they know that he's, I guess, entrapped in Hengist's body. But then they're like,
because
get
they
him to
drugged him.
Yeah, but that's
So
right.
he can't. They assume that he can't leave. If
I guess
Hengist,
so.
Their
Yeah.
logic on this shit is fucking crazy.
So he goes, get him to the transporter room immediately, and they run over to the transporter room. It's funny too because you see Kirk,
Kirk carrying Hengist by himself.
And everyone's smiling and laughing on the Enterprise. It's such a weird shot.
The guy in the transporter room is all baked on arm juice, and he's like, and Spock pushes him out of the way to beam the guy to. So they're gonna beam Hengist's body into space at a wide dispersal.
Yeah, maximum
and just
distribution.
disperse him into space. And the high guy at the controls is like, "Come on, Spock, I would have done it."
You didn't have to shove me over.
Yep. And now here we go. They beamed it out into open space. Spock says, "Look, even if it is an infinite being, it's going to disperse itself and become nothing and die eventually."
Now it's little molecules of the spirit, I guess. Their assumption.
But it will
Wasn't
die.
it a spirit in the first place? Anyways, who cares?
It is a non-corporeal being that could become corporeal when it needed to. So
Right?
this is what the problem. This is the thing that I was trying to figure out the whole time. So Hengist wasn't like a person from Rigel 4 that got fucking
That's what I was
possessed.
thinking too, because like he
Hengist
dies.
was the body that the thing created,
right?
But then it dies and the thing leaves it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe it like
I don't even think they get it. What does the compendium say?
I think. Well, I don't know. Actually, I haven't even read the whole thing, but it's just saying that it's taking a good premise and taking all these characters of the rules, but. Let's see. Jack the Ripper, Terraform, Wolf in the Fold is successful. Oh, it's just like one of the many themes that comes up with Kirk saying, like, when man comes out the space, man kind of fucked this space up.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the line that came out was a draft out of a slaughterhouse. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that with this episode, I don't know. I think it's just really creepy how I guess there's something so evil. It felt kind of like Insidious, where it's like something so evil can infect other planets and other galaxies, and like I wonder what they did with those other planets with those people. Like, did they just assume the Scotty in those situations did the deed and just murdered him?
If there even was a Scotty, they said they were unsolved.
Right? That's true.
They said those murders were unsolved.
That's true. Maybe they're just cold cases.
One little light thing at the end, though, is everybody's high and Scotty is laughing. He's like, "Oh, I'm so glad I wasn't a murderer." For a second, I thought seriously. I killed those women.
I know, right? And then Kirk goes over to Bones and is like, "How long will this take for this tranquilizer to wear off?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours."
I gave them a pretty big shot, Jim.
Yeah, they used it for only 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
And he's like, "What?"
for the next 5 to 6 hours, we're gonna have the happiest crew in space.
Yeah, and Spock's like, "Well, hey, I guess since you came to Argelis to hang out, you should take the opportunity now." And well, I mean, oh god, then the line that comes up again, he's like, "Spock, I know a cafe where the women," and Spock's like, "I know," or no, Bones says, "I know, let's go." But
Kirk's not going to take the high people with, so he's trying to get Spock to go with him.
And Spock's just like...
Spock is like you're barking up the wrong tree. It's like when you're trying to get your... It's like when somebody's trying to get their teetotaling friend that doesn't drink to drink.
Yeah.
And Spock's just like, you are barking up the wrong tree, and Kirk leaves the high people in frustration. I thought it would have been funny if Kirk had been like, well, everybody got a shot but me, and then he gave himself a shot. But somebody's got to tend to the ship. And so that is the recap of that's the recap of A Wolf in the Fold. So Al, what did you think about this episode?
Well, what I was reading the compendium and everything that it was saying, apparently Robert Bloch, the guy who wrote this too, he wrote Psycho.
Ooh.
Yeah, the novel, filmed a year later by Alfred Hitchcock.
Wow.
And Bloch also wrote What Are Little Girls Made Of and Cat's Paw.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. But it's like, my only beef with this is that they just kind of felt like it wrote it into a corner. I mean, I guess other, like you said, the fog and the women. It's just like, Scotty obviously isn't a murderer. Like, they couldn't, that wouldn't have ended well if he was, obviously. Yeah. But it's just such a fantastical, weird story that it just teeters a line between sci-fi and like horror ghost stuff, where it's just this entity that takes over the ship. My favorite part is just the cleverness of Spock, though, and being like, calculate pi, and then they distract the computer while they try to figure out how to kill it.
Yeah.
The way they kill it is a little weird too, but we'll get to that.
well, yeah. So they dispersed the guy.
I guess
they trapped it with a drug inside of Hengist, and then they just dispersed him in space with the. And it's kind of like shouldn't they have put the thing on trial? It's just like they just decided to kill it. It feels like they should have put it on trial. It's like an entity that's lived for hundreds of years. I feel like they should have figured that out a little bit, but. No, I thought it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed the whodunit aspect of it and how they made everybody. Scotty was obviously.
I was a fiance at first, but
yeah, they made everybody look like they might be guilty. What's the prefect up to? And the prefect ended up just being on the level and trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny when Spock was like, "Oh, their psychic stuff is kind of bullshit,"
Yeah,
and it's like,
Spock,
"Oh, but your
later.
Psychic stuff, you would bet somebody's life on." I bet Spock, wouldn't you?
Yeah, right. And then Spock later was like, "It is on record that some of these Argalian procedures are accurate.
Some stuff going on.
Yeah, there is some seance action." But so what would you rate this?
I would rate good segue. I would rate this as 3.5 pips. I give it a 3.5. The crazy left field turn at the end, and it just
that's kind of.
It just all takes place in various rooms with close-ups of people talking to each other. There's not a lot of good action.
He does a flip on the guy.
And there's a kick at the
end. Yeah.
So 3.5 pips or 3.5 comm badges. What about you?
I think the fact that it was the piglet guy, that was pretty funny. Just hearing that voice be used in a different context is hilarious.
Piglet, the space murderer.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. I mean, I guess one thing they might have, I don't know, everything just built all perfectly. I liked how they brought up the computer stuff and the Enterprise stuff at the very end, how they used the little hand scanner to verify whether people were telling the truth or not. And also the fact that, what was I going to say? The music was pretty good in this episode, too. It was very suspenseful, too. A little over the top at times, but it definitely helped, you know. And I mean, it was pretty terrifying. As much as I didn't believe it, but it did suck for Scotty to just be like, did I murder these people?
Yeah, and I think it's wild that, so what was your rating?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Probably like...
I was worried you gave your rating 3? And I was looking up notes.
No, you're good. 3.5, 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5, that's fake.
I don't think it's like...
It's a 70. It
crazy,
just like the last one. It's a 7.2 on IMDb.
It started crazy well. I think the intro was fantastic and it was hilarious and stuff. But I don't know how else you would have like written it, to get him out of that situation. Other than the fact that it was a foggy alley and I guess the person would be a wolf in the fold on a planet where people don't get freaked out or murdered.
And so here's some, just really quick, we don't usually do this, but there's some funny ones in this. Here's some memorable quotes from the Star Trek Memory Alpha. Now, no one has to tell an old Aberdeen pub crawler how to applaud, Captain.
Yeah, that's good.
And then, I even picked this one out too. He says, Captain, you mean my neck's going to have to depend on some spooky mumbo jumbo when he's talking about the seance?
Yeah, he's already coming off as an asshole too. Apparently, go ahead.
No, just go ahead.
Oh yeah, apparently in another script they said that like as soon as the lieutenant beamed down for the tricorder test or whatever, Scotty was like a woman, but they didn't leave that in.
They kind of lost the woman hatred stuff until the end of the seance. And they don't really go back to talking about Scotty being cured.
True. And I mean, it must have just been traumatic for Scotty to just go through all that, especially after the head injury too.
Yes.
They were really leaning on that. I mean, that was their only type of evidence.
Poor Scotty had a head injury. You're already kind of confused. Now you might be a murderer. The last quote I want to say is, she's dead, Jim, just like the other one. Stabbed over and over again.
Jeez.
God, grim. But yeah, good episode. That was a wolf in the fold. A 3 from Al, a 3.5 from me.
Oh, what's good, though, is we'll see what the next episode is going to be. The Tribbles.
Yes. Trouble with Tribbles.
That is going to be crazy.
Very excited about that. That's like one of the top ever episodes. There's good Klingon stuff in it. The Tribbles themselves are great. It's fucking awesome. And all the other Star Treks in the future have referenced Tribbles.
Okay,
great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
What are your recommendations, though?
Well, you give your next recommendation first.
Okay.
Because I only
start.
had the one in the chamber.
No, I only really have one, too. I think it's really Danny Brown's new album. And it's called Cuarenta. It's like based off of, Triple X, because he made Triple X when he was 30. And Cuarenta is like an Italian or Spanish saying for 40. So now that he's 40, it's like a lot of, I guess it's called, I don't know, it's just a different branch of rap. It's a little more cerebral, a little darker.
Cool.
But I think you'd like it. It's Danny Brown's Cuarenta.
Cool. And Danny Brown
he's wild.
Okay, cool.
But he's definitely more calm and grounded in this one compared to his super, super older works. You'll see. I'll send it to you right now.
Right on.
Yeah, everybody should hear that.
And then I want to recommend some friends of mine back in North Dakota have a podcast called We Watch Shudder.
Oh, nice.
And it's Michelle and JD dissect original and exclusive new releases and archive titles from the world's premier horror and horror-adjacent streaming service. It's good, it's funny, and it's insightful. They do a lot of good horror analysis. And they also have a good online presence where they, like, on their Facebook, they give commentary on what they're watching, and they did a thing in October where they released like at least a mini episode every day about a different movie or short film or something. It was really cool. So we watched Shudder. Those are some of my buds from back in the Midwest. And next week we're going to be talking about Trouble with Tribbles.
Oh, also watch Invincible.
Well, Invincible is holding in, still is very good. Great new season.
Yes.
But that's it. Thanks for listening to Trek in the Valley. Do all the stuff in the bumper and have a good rest of your week. Happy holidays.
Yes, happy. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Are we?
We'll be between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Happy whatever's happening.
Yes,
definitely before New Year's.
Thank you so much for listening, though. I appreciate it.
Peace out.
Bye.